Page 73 of a filing with the Securities and Exchange Commission. One sentence, two numbers inside it. The company is Dropbox, and only one of those two numbers has ever traveled. The one that traveled is why people say Dropbox saved $74.6 million by leaving Amazon. The one that stayed put is what that saving cost. Behind it, roughly 90% of every file its users owned pulled off Amazon S3 and onto hardware Dropbox designed itself. The system that caught all of it was called Magic Pocket, and it went from prototype to exabyte scale in about 6 months. So, 3 things: how Magic Pocket got built, what the filing says it earned, and who should not copy it. This one document is where every cloud is a trap argument eventually lands, so the details matter. By 2015, Dropbox held 500 million users and half an exabyte of their files in Amazon S3. 3 years earlier, it was 40 petabytes. Akhil Gupta ran infrastructure there. His reason for leaving was not that Amazon was expensive. It was that Amazon was general, and general gets costly when a company only does one thing. Gupta put it this way: public cloud by design is trying to work with multiple workloads, customers, and use cases, and it has to optimize for the lowest common denominator. Dropbox had one workload: store an encrypted chunk, keep it forever, hand it back fast. So it built a machine that did only that and nothing else. Magic Pocket does not store files. Every file gets shattered into encrypted blocks up to 4 megabytes, each block named by its hash, and that hash is the only name it has. Rename the file, move it, share it, and the block underneath never notices. Blocks go into buckets, buckets group into volumes, volumes live inside a cell, and one cell holds around 50 petabytes of raw disk. The cell is the unit Dropbox grows by. Inside it, hot data is replicated and colder data is erasure-coded. 6 fragments of data carrying 3 of parity, so the redundancy costs fractions of a disk instead of whole ones. Something has to map every hash to a location, and for that the team picked a giant sharded MySQL cluster. The most exotic storage system in the industry, indexed by the most boring database on Earth. Most of it is written in Go. Then a few engineers rewrote the storage engine in Rust, because at 100 disks per machine, garbage collection stops being an implementation detail and starts being a hardware budget. James Cowling led the project, and in his own write-up he mentions, almost in passing, that most of Magic Pocket was built by a team of less than half a dozen people. Their durability target reads like a typo, 12 nines. Cowling said it better than any spec sheet could. Theoretical durability has to be effectively infinite. Software was the easy half. Dropbox also built the box, a chassis nicknamed Diskotech, 4 rack units tall, over 100 drives inside, more than a petabyte in something you could stand next to. Worth saying plainly, Dropbox does not own a data center. It leases cages inside other people's buildings. What it owns is what goes in them. Then it filled that box with drives the rest of the industry would not touch. Shingled recording overlaps the tracks on a platter like roof tiles. You gain density, and you give up random writes. Sequential writes only is a brutal constraint, so the rest of the industry passed. In June 2018, Dropbox said it was the first major tech company to adopt shingled drives, and it was deploying hundreds of petabytes of them. The chassis that came out of that bet held 2.29 times the blocks of the design before it. Density here is not a benchmark score. It is rent, power, and floor space. 5 years later, Dropbox published the receipt. Shingled drives had reached 90% of its hard drive fleet, and its 6th-generation servers needed 5 fewer megawatts and 1/3 of the rack space to hold an exabyte than the 4th-generation machines they replaced. None of that mattered until the racks were physically standing in buildings. During the scale-up, Dropbox was installing between 30 and 40 racks every single day. Each one had to land in a different failure domain, on different power, a different breaker, a different network path. The Register reported that in 1 week, 2 semi-trailers carrying disks crashed on the way in. Before any of it carried real traffic, Dropbox ran a 6-month torture test, keeping a full mirror of 1/3 of customer data on S3 while deliberately breaking its own hardware to watch what happened. The safety net was the vendor they were leaving. A bug in a staging cluster forced the team to reset the clock and run the whole thing again. Another 6 months. Only then came the countdown, and half an exabyte moved in roughly 6 more. In March 2016, it was done. 90% of user data was living on Dropbox Metal. Which leaves the one question that decides whether any of this was worth doing. February 2018. Dropbox files to go public, and an engineering project turns into an audited accounting line that company officers have to put their names against. The filing says it like this: cost of revenue decreased $16.8 million, or 4%, during 2016, primarily due to a net decrease of $39.5 million in our infrastructure costs due to our infrastructure optimization. Net decrease. That one word is carrying an enormous amount of weight, and the very next sentence explains why. The bill from the third-party data center provider fell by $92.5 million. Depreciation, facilities, and support on Dropbox equipment rose by $53 million. 92.5 cut, 39.5 kept. Roughly 43 cents of every dollar taken off the cloud bill survived as a real saving, and the rest walked straight back on as somebody else's line item. 2017 brought another $35.1 million. Add the 2 years and you get $74.6 million, the figure everybody repeats, and the one the filing itself does not print. Where the work is undeniable is the margin. Gross margin went 33%, then 54%, then 67%, 34 points in 24 months. Free cash flow went from minus $63.9 million to $305 million, and the filing names infrastructure optimization as the first reason for it. The bill arrived first though. Capital spending ran $78.7 million, then $115.2, then collapsed to $25.3 once the build was finished. You pay for the metal before the metal pays you. And Dropbox still lost $111.7 million in 2017. The migration fixed the gross margin. The business took longer, which points at the uncomfortable read on the timing. A company about to price its shares needed a gross margin that looked like software, and storage rent was the thing standing in the way. This was great engineering, and it was great engineering aimed at a date. So here's the question worth sitting with before anybody copies this. How much of your own bill is one workload that has not changed shape in years? Because Dropbox brought 5 things to this that most companies do not have. Condition 1. A single dominant workload, not a portfolio of services. One verb, repeated a few billion times. Condition 2. Scale that makes hardware arithmetic work at all. 600,000 drives and counting, exabytes stored, tens of millions of requests a second. At that size, a fraction of a cent per gigabyte turns into a number with a comma in it. Condition 3. An organization. Gupta grew Dropbox infrastructure from 10 engineers into a 500-person engineering group. The Magic Pocket core was 6 people. Keeping the buildings alive was not. Condition 4. Time. The move is remembered as 6 months, but that was only the scale-up. Dropbox described the whole effort as 2.5 years, and proving it out was the longest phase. Condition 5. The appetite to add $53 million of new annual cost to the books before a single dollar of saving appeared anywhere. Then the part that gets cut from the retelling. Dropbox did not fully leave. Under 10% of storage stayed with Amazon on purpose, and European business data went into AWS facilities in Germany because regulators wanted it there. Japan and Australia were served from S3 too. By 2022, Dropbox had shipped an abstraction called Object Store, whose stated job is routing each write to whichever backend is cheaper, Magic Pocket or S3. The most famous cloud exit in the industry runs a purchasing department written in software. Andreessen Horowitz, a firm with every reason to like the cloud, used this exact filing in 2021 to argue that repatriation runs 1/3 to 1/2 the cost of the equivalent workload in the cloud. Across 50 public software companies, the same piece put cloud at roughly half of cost of revenue and around $100 billion of suppressed market value. Then it landed the line. You are crazy if you do not start in the cloud, they wrote, and you are crazy if you stay on it. The market has been answering out loud too. In the quarter that ended in June, Amazon Web Services grew 37% year over year, its fastest in 18 quarters, on a $169 billion run rate, throwing off $16.6 billion of operating income in that quarter alone. So, the verdict. Dropbox was right, and the receipts are audited. Gross margin 33 to 67, $92.5 million off one vendor line, cash flow from minus $64 million to $305. For a company shaped exactly like that one, owning the metal wins. For most of the rest, the cloud wins, and it is not close. The villain here was never Amazon. It is the headline number. 74.6 million traveled the internet for 8 years, while the 53 million it cost to earn it sat on page 73. What does transfer is the thing Dropbox did first. They read their own bill until they found the part of it that had stopped changing. So the question is not whether you could build Magic Pocket. It is whether the line you would cut is bigger than the line you would add. On your bill, which line is that?